Welcome back to CentralCoastRadio.com. Well, now we're going to take a look at Disney's latest film that has just hit cinemas. It's called Haunted Mansion, and of course, it is based on the Disney attraction, a Haunted Mansion that's been around for a number of years now, and it's kind of interesting because there are so many myths and urban legends about that attraction that it is actually one of the attractions that's been kind of loved by Disney fun park fans for years and years and years. And they are very, very vocal when the films of Disney's Mansion haven't mirrored the attraction, or what people have felt haven't mirrored the attraction. So there's a lot riding on this film. Yes. Lee and I headed along to the premiere of this one to check it out. But basically, this film kind of revolves around a character called Ben Mathias, played by Lakeith Stanfield, who's a gifted scientist who has never really recovered from the death of his wife. He was so gifted that he created a device that actually allowed ghosts to be photographed. But today he has, a lot of people say, wastes his time running tours of New Orleans while he's drunk, but he's actually doing the tour that his wife did before she passed away. But of course, he's not in the science field anymore. In fact, he says he no longer believes in ghosts. But his life suddenly takes another turn when a priest named Father Kent, played by Owen Wilson, shows up at his door and offers him money to come and help a young family. Gabby, played by Rosario Dawson, and her son Travis, played by Chase Dillon, who have a serious haunting issue at their house that they have just bought. So serious, in fact, that Gabby, Travis, and Kent now must spend every night at the mansion, despite the horrors that they are enduring there. Now, soon Ben finds himself part of a team that includes a psychic named Harriet, played by Tiffany Haddish, and an historian called Bruce, played by Danny DeVito. And together they must solve what is causing the haunting in order to free themselves from the mansion and its hold. Now, Lee, what did you think of Haunted Mansion? I probably should ask, have you been to the actual Haunted Mansion?
Yes, years ago, I went to Disneyland, and yes, I have some memories of that. I have to say the set design in this movie I think is very good. I love the mansion and of course all the interior of the mansion as well. The shots of the mansion from the outside look spectacular, and the interior looks amazing too. So I felt like during this film, it felt different in different scenes. So I felt at times there was a bit of a Jumanji feel to it.
Yeah.
In the stretching room, it reminded me of Willy Wonka. And then you've got ghost scenes that kind of make me think of Beetlejuice or something like that. So it's a lot of different movies that I felt just made me think of those movies while I was watching the film.
Yeah.
And I really liked the characters in this film, especially the character of Ben. I thought he was a brilliant actor in this movie. But I like the storyline of his character as well as his performance in it.
He's been one of those actors on a rise for a while, like Keith Stanfield, and it's really good to see him really stand up and be the leading man in a film like this. So
Yeah. And Gabby as the single mum, of course, that character, it's a great storyline too. And you can imagine being stuck in a mansion with your son and facing, ghosts that you cannot escape from would be a horrific thing to have to endure. But her character, I guess, had a lightness to her as well as facing all these challenges. It was a good mix of, I just felt like you felt sorry for her in the sense that she was trapped there, but you enjoyed her being part of the story. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Owen Wilson, now I love him as an actor anyway, but he really does a great job as the character of Father Kent, and quite amusing in parts as well. And I kind of guessed one of the reveals of his character. I'd kind of guessed what was happening in the movie, but it was good to hear the reveal come out. And of course Jared Leto's in this as Crump, a ghost. You've also got some appearances from people like Jamie Lee Curtis and Danny DeVito, so it's actually quite a great cast if you think about it. Lots of people, that you're familiar with, and I was wondering though, I felt that for an adult, I wasn't scared by this movie in any way. Now, it is rated PG, and it is a Disney film, right? So I guess that's probably why they've gone for the PG version. So as an adult, I wanted to see it darker and scarier, for sure. But I think from a kid's point of view, it would be too scary. But from an adult's view, it's not scary enough. So I'm not quite sure what age group this is for, but I guess if you were a family with kids in maybe grade 6 and above, it might be a good family film.
I said in my written review that I felt that if your child could handle Harry Potter, they could handle this film. I thought so, because it's interesting, like you said. This is a very hard film for the director to get right. Justin Simien had a very, very hard role. I mentioned before about these fanatics that love the Haunted Mansion. Now, I love reading and watching anything about the paranormal or supernatural and stuff like that. And so as soon as this film started out in New Orleans, I was interested, because for me, that is like one of the most paranormal cities in the world. But what I meant before about this thing about the real Haunted Mansion and people wanting to catch the essence is that there's all these urban legends, myths that some people believe are true about the Haunted Mansion. And I actually listed some of them because I watched a video just before I went to see this film about what some of the things are that people believe. Now, there's a rumor, which has been debunked, but a lot of people still believe it, that a test rider was scared to death during the initial testing of the Haunted Mansion ride and actually died while they were doing it. Now, it's been debunked, but people still say, no, it did happen, and they're just covering it up. There's also a very popular belief that Madame Leota, who is played by Jamie Lee Curtis in the film, that her spell book in the Haunted Mansion is an actual witch's spell book from New Orleans, and that it has paranormal thing. Now, people haven't been able to debunk that, because even people who work at Disney have said that that book has moved on its own at times over the years. There's also a lot of hysteria around the character of the Hatbox Ghost, who is actually Crump in this film, played by Jared Leto. Now, the Hatbox Ghost was a short-lived character at the mansion who quickly developed a cult following, but he simply disappeared very, very quickly. There was a lot of rumors about why the character disappeared so quickly. The mansion creators said it was because the illusion never worked properly, but of course, the fanatics have other ideas about that. And one of the things that people have always wanted is for Madame Leota's spellbook and the Hatbox Ghost to have a big part in the film. That happens in this Haunted Mansion. Madame Leota's spellbook is a big part of the film, and Crump gets a backstory, so you learn a little bit about that character as well. But I'm like you. I loved the characters. I loved the performance of Lakeith Stanfield, but I'm not sure where this film sits, because it is too scary for little kids.
Yes.
But it's perhaps not scary when you compare it to something like The Conjuring or something like that.
No, different league.
No, but it feels like the kind of movies that you and I would have watched as a kid. Like you said, Beetlejuice or Witches of Eastwick. Yeah. That would universally be deemed too scary for kids these days. Yep. So it's an interesting film, because I found myself really enjoying it, even though
Oh, it's very entertaining. For sure.
Like, I haven't been on the ride, but like I said, I've been on walkthroughs of the ride online, and to me, this does capture the essence of the ride really well, which is what the director and the writer wanted to do with this film. So, for me, it does what it sets out to do. I enjoyed it, but I'm just a little bit worried about the audience for this one. Like, where is it going to sit? But having said that, what are you going to give this one out of 5?
I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. As I said, I really enjoyed it. I think it's, if it does appeal to teenagers, school holidays are coming up, so great time for it to be coming out as well. And yeah, I would assume that would be their age group maybe that would like it. But as an adult, very entertaining. So if you're not expecting it to be scary, and you see it more as a Beetlejuice type of level of scary, then you will really enjoy it as an adult still. It is quite long. It's 2 hours, just over 2 hours. So settle in and watch it,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 as well. I think good on the writer and the director for capturing that essence. Like, hardcore Disney fans are going to love it for that reason, that they do capture.
As I said, I love the mansion.
Yeah.
It's really well done.
I really think for me the strong point of this was Lakeith Stanfield. I thought he was brilliant in this film, and I can't wait to see him get more leading roles. I also loved Owen Wilson as well, who brings a little bit of comedic relief at times during the film. But that is our review of The Haunted Mansion. We both gave it 3.5 out of 5. It's got a general release, so check your local cinema guide to see where it's showing near you and go and check it out. You're on centralcoastradio.com.